Thank you.
I am ready to go. So welcome everybody, and thank you so much to taking your time and sharing this evening with us. First, I just want to say this hour and a half is about just getting together, talking about cigars, kind of forgetting about the troubles of the world right now. So what we're going to do is really talk about if you ever been to one of my events. It's simple. What I do when I'm at the shops and doing the events is kind of talking about what we do behind the scenes. So any questions you want to know about what we do, how we do it, those are the questions I want to answer for you guys tonight and girls. So anything you want to know, this is what we're going to do today. Little bit about myself. I'm Rick Rodriguez, the blender for CAO, and my job is to create the cigars, working with the team that we have in place in Nicaragua, and creating new cigars for CAO. A little bit about my history. I was with General Cigar now for 21 years. About 15 years ago, I was approached. I was a salesman, and I was approached, and everybody, Mr. Coleman, the owner of General Cigar, one day said, "I need your help." And so I love the company. I love what I was doing. I was a salesman for the company for General Cigar. And anything you want from me, Mr. Coleman, I would love to do for you. And he says, well, we need to prepare for the future. And a lot of our cigar blenders or masters are retiring or leaving the company. And he chose me to train in the factories and train with a gentleman called Benji Menendez for 5 years. And that taught me about tobacco, how to process tobacco, how to harvest tobacco, how to make blends, how to roast cigars. But really, my training with Benji came, and when we started to, I started to ask questions. How do we blend cigars? And that is it. So fast forward to about 2007, 2008. I started to work with La Gloria in about 2010. I started to work with CAO. So we've been working together for CAO going on over almost 10 years. So I'm going to do something simple. Just any questions right now that you want to know about CAO or what we do behind the scenes. Gary's going to ask me some questions that you're going to be able, or hopefully I'll be able to answer. So any questions right now? Okay, guys. Gary, is there anything?
No questions just yet.
Okay. So today, we can talk about some of the new cigars. One of my new cigars on the market this session. And that cigar came about simple. It was asking the fans of CAO, what do you want from us? What do you want from CAO? So that blend, when you smoke that cigar and you realize that blend is a great blend, that blend was made by the fans of CAO. So the fans of CAO were saying, you know what? We love our dark wrapper. We love some spice. We love some sweetness. And that cigar delivers anything and everything these guys wanted from the cigar. And sessions came about simply because if you can look around, I'm smoking in my garage and all my guys are here supporting me. Rocky's here. This guy here and this guy, Tom is in the background. But you know what? When I'm kind of making or working on new blends, what I do is take some of the blends home with me, and I simply text out to my friends, cigar session. And they know that they're going to come to the house or the garage, and we're going to start to smoke some new samples and new projects or new cigars I'm working on. And so sessions came about simply because we had to kind of combine the blend that the fans wanted, and kind of like the questions were always asked on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We see Ricky out there doing his job, smoking in, in the shops. Does he smoke in his house, and where does he smoke? The simple answer, my garage. We have a little man cave, and this is what we do. So we sit around as friends, smoke cigars, talk to each other, watch games, listen to music, and just love life. And so I'm very blessed that I have a group of friends that can handle my bullshit sometimes. I'm sorry, but that is the truth. And so I like everybody. When you have that group of friends that you can sit and smoke the cigars with, that's something very special. And hopefully everybody has that, like we're doing today.
All right, Rick, we've got a question from Luis. He's asking if there are any new cigars that you're launching soon.
There is a couple of cigars that we're going to launch this year. Timing wise, I don't know, for sure, but hopefully in May, there's a new cigar coming out called Bones. And Boned is my interpretation of Dominoes. And if you're in Tampa or Miami, sometimes they don't say, we're going to play dominoes tonight. What they'll do is say, we're going to get together and play bones. And up north, sometimes when you're throwing dice, they'll say, if you want to go outside, we're going to throw bones around. And those are, so that cigar is going to come out first, and maybe in May, hopefully in May, possibly in June, but it's very soon. And so look for that cigar. I'm not going to tell you a lot about the blend because I really don't want to share blend information at first, because if we have a tobacco that you don't think you like, but we can put in a new cigar and you smoke it, you will love it. But if we tell you exactly all the tobaccos in that blend, sometimes I'm like, bro, I don't like Connecticut broadleaf. No, maybe you didn't like the past Connecticut broadleafs. Maybe you'll love this one. So that's the reason I don't share the information about the blends at first, because I want you to just smoke the cigar, judge it for yourself, and then you can talk about you like it or you don't like it. But you don't set your mind up. I don't like this one because I have a back experience on this 2 or 3 cigars before this one.
All right, we've got a great question from Jake, and he wants to know how many blends you typically try out before you pick the final blend.
Well, the average is about 30 blends. Average is about 30. We can, sometimes I've been on a project that we smoked about 50 blends. But one of my biggest hits, one of the biggest hits for CAO is the Flathead series. And believe it or not, we curated that cigar only smoking 2 blends. And we knew right away that we had something special. So, but the average right now is about 20 to 30 blends before you decide. Maybe 17 or 8 is the best blend. Why did you not stop at 8? Because you know what, we had some time. So we think for ourselves, we can do better. We can do better. But ultimately, you say, you know what, that number 8 was spot on. The target was given to us, and that hit the bullseye for that target. So the other cigars that we can smoke throughout this, the time, some cigars like, bro, bury that cigar. Don't ever let that blend see the light of day because it's horrible. But there are also blends that we can create for a project that doesn't match that project, but it's a great cigar for another project. So we save that recipe, we save that, that blend, and we'll create a new line for that cigar. But a great question.
I know this next one is tough, but Jennifer would like to know what your favorite cigar is.
The cigar I'm smoking right now, so every cigar to me has a perfect time to smoke the cigar. So if you look at me, I smoke mild cigars, medium body cigars, full body cigars. When I elect to smoke that cigar is everything. So do I want to smoke a mild cigar after a steak dinner? No, because that's a wrong time for that cigar. But a mild cigar with a cup of coffee in the morning and my newspaper, spot on. So depending on my mood, depending on what I ate, the time of day, who I'm with, that is going to affect that cigar. So my favorite cigar in my line right now, if I had to choose one, I'm smoking a lot of sessions. I think Palone would be, if I had to go to that island for a month and smoke one cigar, I think for me would be Palone.
All right, so this next question is from Dan. First, he wanted you to know that he's a big fan of the World Cigar Series, but he wants to know if you have a favorite region where you'd like to basically grow or use tobaccos from in your next cigar, or is there a country that you haven't yet blended from that you'd like to incorporate into your next cigar?
You know, the beauty of working with a CAO is the DNA of CAO, and the DNA of CAO is offering you guys unique tobaccos from around the world. So they were the first guys to really offer you a wrapper from Brazil. They were the first company that offered tobacco from Europe or from Italy. So we're always searching for new tobacco. So look at these series called Amazon Basin, and we have 3 or 4 cigars that we launched on that Amazon Basin series, and that's very unique tobacco, only tobacco that we have access to, and that's totally different than anything we worked with in the past, or I think in the future too, because it's so unique. But if I had to choose one type of wrapper, I think my favorite wrapper to work with would be Connecticut broadleaf. Why that one? Because Connecticut broadleaf allows you to give you guys a mild cigar, a medium body cigar, and a full body cigar. A lot of wrappers can't do that. And so if you look at, Cameroon is never going to be launched as a full body cigar. It's always going to be launched as a mild to medium body cigar. But Connecticut broadleaf, I have an open highway with multiple X's that I can take, and I can deliver the vans of CL multiple styles, body wise, flavor wise. So my favorite wrapper would be Connecticut broadleaf. Second would be something from Sumatra, from Honduras. From Ecuador would be my second favorite wrapper to work with. As far as blending, I think I love anything from the Mexico. I love the tobaccos coming from Colombia right now. I love tobacco from the DR, Nicaragua. So those are all my favorite countries to work with.
So this next question is about food and drink pairings. Do you have any favorite pairings? Of course, anyone that knows you is going to know how you'll answer the first food pairing portion. But
so fried chicken would be my favorite to pair with any. But you know what? Pairing is such a personal thing. So for me to say, pair this cigar, the session, with dark rum. If you're not a rum drinker, does that mean to you that I can't enjoy that cigar with my iced tea? No. Whatever you pair, whatever you find you enjoy is what you enjoy. So pair with anything you want. Who am I to say, are you really going to smoke that cigar with that pairing? That's so wrong. It's wrong for me, but it's right for you. So pairing to me is, after a steak dinner, yes, I want more body. I'm not searching for a flavor as much as the body of the cigar, because I want to overpower what I just had for my meal. So it's hard to pair, but everybody pairs different. So whatever you want to pair with, iced tea, Coca-Cola, rum, bourbon, whatever you like is great, and it's right for you. All right, red stripe.
So this next one is coming to you from one of your YouTube fans.
Okay.
So Andy would like to know, he's got 2 questions for you. How often do you get down to the factory? And can you tell us a little bit about the Amazon series, if you've got anything new coming out in terms of Amazon?
Okay, so we try to get to the factories about 2 or 3 times a year. The first time would be in the beginning of the year when we're working on the new lines. So marketing is going to come to me. I work with a great young man Doug Baldwin. He's a great marketing guy. So he's going to give me the target. I'm going to take that target to the factory, and I want to work with a team out down there. And I'm going to say they want from us a mild cigar, a full body cigar. They want some spice. They want some sweetness. And we know, like a chef, we know what to start to pick and choose. So that is the first technique. After that, maybe we'll go back in the summertime to see production wise. We created the blend, and now we're ready for production. And we'll just simply go down to the factory, check it out, smoke some of these blends are kind of coming off the table. And so just make sure they're spot on and the right blends and the right tobaccos are being used and all that. So after that, my time is about 80% of my time is spent sharing our stories about CAO and our stories about how and why we do something to the tobacco or what we do with the tobacco. So about 80% I spend my time is in the shops and doing this. Exactly what we're doing today is what I do in the shops. Q&A.
So this next question is from Kyla, and she wants to know if you've got any favorite parts of the country to travel to, and then also if you find any more or any specific areas that take cigar smoking more seriously, like if you've got any regions that you go to that, you know, you've got a lot of fans.
Yeah, you know what? Every place I kind of I know it's going to sound fake, but every time I go to a shop anywhere in this country or the world, what I realize is the guys and girls are the same. They're, you know, they love the cigars, they love the experience of smoking, getting together. So to me, to say, you know, San Francisco or New York or Philly is my favorite places, I can't say that. Now, food-wise, maybe I say, well, I love Philly cheese steak sandwiches. So any chance I have to go to Philly to eat that sandwich, I want to go to Philly. But as far as fans and you know, who smokes more, you know, it's all based on the guys that when I walked into the shops and the girls are there and the guys are there, I don't care where I'm at. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to sit down, relax, talk to these guys and girls about what we do and share all of the knowledge that I have with you guys. So Europe is easier for me to pick a country in Europe to say my number one area is this. I love Germany. I love Spain. I just got back from a tour in China, luckily, before the craziness about 6 months ago. And that really took me by surprise, and how willing these guys are to kind of know and be taught about cigars. So in the U.S., bro, anywhere I found myself, that is my favorite spot at that time.
All right, so it seems like you have a lot of Flathead fans out there. There's a few questions about how you came up with the idea, and then how long it took you from the time you first had that idea to when you wound up smoking it in a cigar shop.
So a crazy story. I try to kind of make it short, but it's kind of long. I was working on a project that was given to us for 6 months, and it was not coming together. I didn't like the name of the cigar that marketing came up with. I didn't like the presentation of the cigar, the box, the band. I didn't like that. And so about 6 months, and they give us about 6 months to create the cigar. After that, we have to be ready for the trade show. And we're about maybe 2 months before the trade show. To be able to make, 100,000 cigars, we need about 2 or 3 months. So I remember calling my boss and said, I'm out. I don't believe in this project. I don't want anything to do with this project. I cannot stand in front of anybody and talk about this cigar if I don't believe in the cigar. So I don't want to do it. And all of a sudden I got a call from the president of the company and said, what do you mean you don't want to do it? Well, you can't back out because we don't have time. I'd rather go to the trade show with no cigar, but if you force me to go to the trade show and introduce a cigar that I don't like, I can't do this. And so, Ricky, you have no time. And I was in the factory at that time when I was taking this call. And so, yeah, you have how much more time in the factory? I'm going to be here. It was a Monday. I'm going to be leaving on Friday. You have 5 days to create a blend, to create the packaging, the box, and the design of the band. So if you can do that in 5 days, you can have a cigar that you can release. I got with the team and we started to work on the blend. And I remember telling the president, I have this crazy idea because I love the old cars, especially old Fords that had a flathead engine. And I said, I want to call this cigar Flathead. And I said, Flathead, that doesn't relate to anything. It relates to what I enjoy. So I want pinup girls. So if you open that box, there's a fly sheet in that box is pinup girls. So that combination, the engine block the box looks like an engine block, and the fly sheet, we knew that we had that gone. But now we have to do the blend. And all of a sudden, we created, I started on Tuesday. By Wednesday, we had 2 cigars and we're smoking it, but we're creating a round cigar. And I was smoking that cigar. I said, this cigar is good, but it's burning too hot in my mouth. We need to cool it down. The roller that I work with was kind of sitting behind me and said, Ricky, why don't we box press it? I said, wow, brilliant. Let's box press it. And we did that for 24 hours and smoked it on Wednesday. And boom, we knew, we thought we had something special. How special, we didn't know. And it is the #1 selling cigar for CAO today. And it's the highest rating cigar that General Cigar has ever received, a 95 rating. And it was a cigar of the year #3. So that process took us about a week to design, to make the blend, and we created that cigar in less than a week. And sometimes we can overthink it. When you give me 6 months, I overthink something. But when you have to really concentrate, my team, myself, marketing really came together, tightening all of these things up, and we launched the Flathead series. And from that point to now, it is one of our favorite cigars in our line.
So before we ask the next question, we just wanted to remind all your fans, if they log on to cigarworld.com this month, Rick is giving away a bunch of his favorite CAO Lotus lighters. So all you have to do is go online, you click on register, sign up, and then you join Rick's CAO group, and we're going to be giving away a bunch of those lighters to all of you guys who are following Rick on Cigar World. So yeah, there you go.
Right here.
And then your next question is from Michael. He is wondering if you're coming up with any of your holiday offerings this year.
Right now, we don't have that in the schedule, but that series was a huge hit for us. It kind of played out because we did it for about 4 years, and we noticed the 4th or 5th time that we launched it, sales were kind of dipping. And so, but we're never going to give up. So that's a great question. I'll ask Doug, but talking to Doug and knowing Doug, he's going to say yes to this. And so look for that maybe in 2021, possibly 2022. We'll relaunch a special cigar for the holidays.
So we've got a question from Zoom here, and we've got a few people asking about your palate. And they would like to know, as a master cigar blender, if you can smoke a cigar and tell exactly what regions of the world the tobaccos are from.
This is where I lie or tell the truth. But the truth is, no, I can't. What if you give me 10 cigars with 10 different wrappers, I could pick out 10 of 10. If you give me a cigar, it says there's 5 tobaccos in that cigar, I may be able to pick out 2 or 3, but I would be guessing on the other 2 or 3 because that takes time. And I'm a baby of what I'm doing. When you're looking at what I'm doing, I've only been doing blending for about 10 years. 13 years. Even masters that have been doing for 30 years would hard pressed to say, I can name every tobacco in your cigar. But as far as a palate, I know good tobacco and bad tobacco. And meaning, I'm not one of these guys who are going to smoke a cigar like this. Oh, popcorn with a finish of raisins. No, raisin bran. No, I'm not that guy. I know the great combination I like. I don't know what is in it, but when I smoke that cigar, I don't care what's in it, but I love that cigar. But for me to you, it's hard for anybody to say, I can definitely smoke a cigar that has 4 or 5 or 6 tobaccos and say, I'm going to name every tobacco in that blend.
I love raisin bran.
I love it too, bro, but that's not the question. But I can say there is guys out there. I think Hanky could do it. Benji Menendez can do it. Some of the Fuentes can do it, but maybe I can do it in another 2 or 10 or 20 years of working with tobacco, but right now I could not do it.
All right, your next question is about Steel Horse.
Mhm.
So Charles would like to know where your inspiration came to develop that line, and then also the roadkill size.
The roadkill size is my favorite size. And we'll go back to that, remind me about sizes in the line. But the Flathead Steel Horse series came when we launched Flathead. I had a lot of gentlemen and ladies coming up to me and saying, you're talking to truck guy and car guy. What about us? And my response, who are you? We're bike guys. We drive a motorcycle. Because I don't drive a bike and I've never driven a bike. You know what? I can maybe, is that one guy says, I was doing an event, happened to be doing an event in Milwaukee, the home of Harley. And so you realize that Harley Davidson launched a flathead engine before Ford did. And doing some research, that was true. So when they came to us and say, we want to span the line of Flathead, we knew already that we had 5 sizes or 4 sizes that we're going to run with. To just offer another 2 or 3 sizes was kind of crazy. So why not give the bikers something that they can smoke? And so we reblended that cigar, made it more mellow, more flavor of the tobacco, but not body, because I don't think anybody wants to be a full body cigar, kind of dizzy, and all of a sudden, okay, I have to get on my bike and drive home. It's one thing to kind of get dizzy and drive your car home, but it's another thing to be a bike. So we just released the Flathead series called Steel Horse. And the only thing that refers back to Flathead is a Flathead, because it's a round cigar versus a box press. But we kind of, the cousin of that line Flathead is Steel Horse, and what we just did was to make that head flat. So we can go back to that. But going back to sizes and why I think, that in the Steel Horse is my favorite size. Any manufacturer you meet, and they have 3 to 5 sizes. You can go up to him and say, I know you have 5 sizes of that line. Which one is your favorite? If they answer every one, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. They're lying to you. But they should say, you know what? Look around and say, my favorite size is XYZ. That to me is the perfect combination, the flavor, the body, the length, the gauge I love. So every cigar manufacturer, every fan has that size. So how many of you guys smoke the 7x70 compared to the 6x60, compared to the spark plug? So what makes it different is that size in your mouth, the size in your hands, the overall performance of that cigar too. Because you cannot tell me that spark plug is going to perform the same way as a 7x70 does. It doesn't do that. So every manufacturer, every fan has their certain size. So if we're ever going to do an event and we give you a size and we're just sampling one size and you smoke it and say, you know what, I don't know about this. don't give up on that, especially if they have multiple sizes. Smoke every size, and you'll be shocked that, thank God I smoked every size, because I found one I really enjoyed. But the first one that Ricky gave me, I didn't enjoy that one, because if I give you a 6x60 or 7x70, he's like, bro, I don't smoke these cigars. You're not going to like it. But if I give you a 54 ring gauge or the spark plug, all of a sudden, oh, bro, this is my size, this is my blend.
All right, this next question is from Brent, and he would like to know how CAO is able to recreate the same blend over and over consistently and sometimes for years.
That's a job of the factory. That's a job of the rollers, the managers of that team. We're always have to play with the cigars, meaning that every year we're working with tobacco. And some years that tobacco is very good. The sun was right, the rain was right. Sometimes there's no rain, and that's going to affect your tobacco. And so it's up to kind of, tweak it, reblend it to give you a cigar experience that you think, I've been smoking the same cigar for the last 10 years, and every time I smoke it, it's the same cigar. That is honor for us to hear that, because we try to do that. But there's times that you're going to smoke a cigar, and 1 year you're smoking it, bro, this is off. Don't ever give up on the line. That year's crop maybe wasn't good. So, just bypass the cigar for 6 months or 3 months and go back to it. And all of a sudden, oh, it's back. So it is every manufacturer tries to do this. Every manufacturer out there tries to give you a blend, and it's that blend is going to hopefully survive for the next 20, 30, 40 years. And it's up to us, is the team and the factory. The guys that are really working with the tobacco every day. Those are the guys that are going to tweak it now and then to make sure that you have the same smoking experience. Good questions, guys. Good. And anything from the popcorn section?
I'm gonna light up a steel horse right now.
Go.
Got it right there in my hand.
Guys, they're never this quiet. Never this quiet.
Well, we don't want to interrupt.
So we've got some questions about Cuban seeds.
Okay.
And really how many, what percentage of tobaccos that you're using originally come from Cuban seeds, and how Cuban tobaccos kind of influence things.
All right, so Cuban seed means absolutely nothing to you. That's a seed from Cuba. Any seed that we pick up, that we grow outside the original area, is going to be different. So if I take a Cuban seed and plant that seed in Nicaragua, Honduras, or in America, what that seed will give us is the identical plant. So it's fully grown, and you harvest this tobacco, and you line up those 4 tobaccos for 4 different areas and say, this is Cuban seed, the same seed grown in Honduras, Nicaragua, America, and the DR. What you realize when you smoke it, this is different. Why? Because the soil is different. So we can plant a Cuban seed. That doesn't mean that Cuban seed is going to perform or taste like Cuba, because we're not in Cuba growing that tobacco. So that seed is just going to give you the look, the style of the tobacco, but when it's fully grown, you cannot tell me out of the 4 plants which one is from where, unless you taste the tobacco. When you taste it, you'll know right away, this is from America, this is from Honduras, this is from the DR, this is from Honduras.
So the next question is about Maduro tobaccos. And the question is, how do we get the tobaccos so dark without actually dyeing them?
So that process is through fermentation. Okay, so simple. You buy your bananas from your grocery store, either kind of light yellow or green. You take those bananas home and you let them rest on your counter for 2 days. All of a sudden, they're ripe. They're all yellow, and you eat that banana. If you eat a green banana, you have no taste. But the banana that you ate that day that's yellow, you say, bro, it tastes like a banana, it's sweet. But if you want to make like banana bread or muffins, what do? You simply take that banana and let it ripen. And now it's black on the outside. And when you open it up, it's very sweet and very flavorful. So during the process of fermentation, all we do with tobacco that we want to create Maduro from is use a tobacco as thicker tobacco leaves so we can crank the heat up, and we're going to try to change the starch into sugars. So any Maduro that you smoke, before you light it, taste it, and that rolling in your lips, you'll see that sweetness, and then we can hide that sweetness with a blend, and you cannot taste it because we're just going to overpower that flavor of the sweetness with a blend. But Maduro is simply a fermentation process that we're going to crank up the heat, and we're going to sustain that fermentation a little bit longer than a natural tobacco.
All right, so your next question is from John, and he would like to know if you have a favorite cigar to give as a gift or to surprise someone with.
Yes, my gift cigar is Palate. That design, that cigar was made for that purpose. Because I was saying to marketing at the time, if I'm having a celebration, a wedding, a birth of a child, do I really want to carry this odd box of Flathead that when you open the lid comes apart, it's not connected to the box, it's just separate. But we wanted to make a cigar that you can celebrate life with, a raise, anniversary, a birth of a child, anything. So you can present that cigar. The style of the box is very, to me, very elegant, very classy. So I would say if I'm going to give you a box of cigars for a celebration or a thank you, it would be Palate for me.
So we're getting a lot of questions about the Amazon line again.
Okay.
So the first question is, we've got Steve who's smoking one of his last original basins. So he's wondering if there's a secret stash that eventually might make it out to retailers anytime soon. And then Dave had a question. He's asking about how we discovered all of these rare tobaccos in the rainforest and what that process was like.
All right, so let's get back to the first question. Unfortunately, no, we're never going to be able right now to relaunch any of the Amazon series again because of the FDA, and that's another question that we can answer maybe another show. But the FDA is coming into play, so we cannot ever release it again. So unfortunately, if you have them, treat them like champagne because your last one is your last one. And unless you just go to a shop that they realize what they have, and you can definitely find them in certain shops because I've been to shops that have the original basins series that we launched about now going on 5 years ago. But for us, we're never going to be able to launch it again. But the tobacco that we're trying to highlight, and this is where I love for Doug, my marketing guy, to be with me because he is able to say the name of the tobacco, and I can't, sorry. But it is a very unique tobacco that we didn't discover. It was discovered by a photographer that was going around the world taking pictures of farmers growing tobacco as a family. Philip Morris hired this young lady to go around the world and take pictures of local family farmers raising tobacco, from cigarette tobacco, from pipe tobacco, from cigar tobacco, any tobacco that a family's growing. Go out there, take pictures. We're going to make a kind of coffee table book and just present it. And so she was in there in Brazil. Do you have anything unique? So they're saying, nope, you saw everything Brazil is growing. And one guy says, Senor, what about the Amazon tobacco? Oh my God, yes, get a tube. And it comes in the tube. The tube is about this thick and about 4 to 5 feet long. And what they discovered was the local Indians were growing the tobacco throughout the forest, in the Brazilian forest, but they didn't grow it in rows. This is the first time that she ever seen tobacco not grown in rows like corn. It was just scattered because they didn't want to upset the forest. So they looked up and they discovered some sunlight, and they plant a seed there. And they walked around as the sunlight plant. And what they do is harvest the tobacco, roll it in this tube, and bury it under a tree. The tree produces this fruit, and it's very sweet. And it falls from the tree, interacts with the soil, and that is what you taste. To me, it can kind of taste like raisins, dry fruit raisins. So anytime you have an Amazon series, simply draw it before you light it, and you'll see that that flavor of that raisin or that dry fruit. But what we were told, if you eat the fruit from the tree, you die right away because it's very poisonous. But because they bear the tobacco so far under the tree that by the time it reacts to the tobacco, all the poison is washed out. Only remaining behind is the flavor of that fruit. And so I was smoking a fuma, a sample of that tobacco, and they said it's poisonous. I couldn't take it out of my mouth quick enough. I was like, what the, really? Poison? And it's no. They don't smoke it, they chew it and they swallow the juice. If they can chew it and swallow the juice, we can smoke it. And that's a story about Amazon Basin. And it was the first cigar that General Cigar ever highlighted the blend, not the wrapper.
There's some other questions, Ricky, that you're not seeing, that you're just getting zoomed, but there's some that I could ask you that are coming up on your YouTube channel as well.
Gary's.
They're forwarding them all to me too. So.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yes. So Dave also wants to know, he said he's smoked the entire Amazon line except for the Oriana. So he wants to know if you could tell us a little bit about the Oriana.
All right, so that cigar was made for one reason, because we knew that we could not make any more of the this third one called the Anaconda. And the Anaconda, we're using tobacco for the wrapper that were grown in Brazil, but they didn't want to grow it anymore because the yields of the tobacco is very small. So they gave up on that tobacco. So when we wanted to keep the trilogies alive, we did that Oriano. And to me, it's more of the spice and the sweetness combined. And it's amazing to me, if I give you and your friend the same cigar, you're going to pull out the sweetness of that cigar, but your friend is going to pull out the spiciness of the cigar. Everybody's palate's different. So to me, that cigar is more complex than the original Amazon Basin, that we want to really focus on the sweetness, and the Fuma, we want to focus on the spice. And then that Oriano combined gives you the overall a combination of the sweet and spicy, but it's up to you to tell me what is drawing for you. So you're going to say to yourself, I taste more sweetness, and the other guys are, no, you're wrong, I'm tasting more spice. Who's right? Everybody's smoking that cigar experience, that's right for them.
So we've got a couple people wondering if you're going to introduce us to your garage buddies that you keep talking to.
Yeah. So all right, go.
Steve here, live in Tampa, Florida, friends with Rick, come to the garage all the time.
Yep.
Smoking a CAO Flathead Steel Horse right now. Always a strong cigar in my book, one of my favorites, as well as the Amazon, the entire Amazon line. But the Oriana right now from the Amazons is one of my favorite of all time. But I also like the CAO Brazilias too. I'm a strong cigar guy. You know, a very full-bodied, heavy-flavored cigar is what I really like, and CAO provides that time and time again.
So share with the audience, where were you smoking when you got here?
Oh, that was a CAO Brasilia, but it was
The Carnival.
The Carnival, the special. It was a special blend of that Brasilia. That was made years and years after the original blend, and I just put that one down because I got down to the very nubby end and decided to light up the Steel Horse, but
He did.
Great
He
smoke.
brought one. He brought one. He didn't share with me.
you only gave me one.
All right, and then in the box of the back is Tom. Tom, hey, bro.
Hi there. I live in Tampa as well. I'm a regular here in the garage. We get together as much as possible, mostly during football season, but quite often in between. We're practicing a little social distancing right now. I'm also smoking a Steel Horse. Don't know if it was just coincidence, but we both grabbed the same cigar, apparently. I smoke them down to the nub because I can't get enough of them myself. It's one of my favorites. I also do enjoy the Brasilia. Those are very, very tasty as well. I do like a strong cigar, so that one seems to come up quite often when I'm looking for one. Other than that,
And he's the commissioner of our fantasy football league too. So he's always welcome in my garage.
That's the
And
other one.
not last, but well, Rocky.
Hello.
So
They're
Rocky,
rock.
what are you smoking, bro?
I'm smoking a 554 Flathead.
Come on,
It
guys.
is
Really?
Excellent. Oh yeah, man, it's a good one. It was there, but I've known this guy for about 6 or 7 years. Funny story, when I first met him, I come down, I didn't really know what he did. I brought a Philly chocolate to see if he wanted to try to smoke, see if he wanted it. And he looked at me and he goes, "Really, bro?" I had no idea. So that's my
So
funny-
you know
funny
what?
story.
And I did invite you back, so that was a
Yes, you
mistake.
did.
Yeah, I
And
wanted-
now you got me off the chocolate.
yeah,
When's
you
the
did.
last time you tried to smoke one of those?
It's been a while.
And Gary, you've been in the garage, right?
I have a bunch of times.
Okay. Don't show off, bro. Just say yes.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Okay.
So the next question is from Tony. He wants to know if you have any favorite sizes to smoke. And then the next question is from me. Do you have any favorite sizes to blend with?
Blending, I usually do about a 50 ring gauge and about 4.5 or 5 inch cigar. I think that's combination will allow you to go up and down. So that is the cigar that we typically smoke as samples. My favorite ring gauge would be a Toro. I think it's my favorite size right now that I smoke. I don't smoke a lot of the 7x70s. I smoked 2.
I do.
Yeah, well, because you're bigger than me. But for me, I just don't want to babysit that cigar for 3 hours. I'd rather smoke for 3 hours, 3 separate cigars. But I know there's fans out there of that 7x70, and thank you so much for that.
All right. So your next question is, out of all the major cigar events, do you have a favorite one and why?
What, repeat that.
Your favorite cigar event?
Your favorite cigar event out of all the big events that you go to, if you've got a favorite event.
I think C-Fest would be my favorite, not because of CI, because of the area. And we get together with 5,000 cigar fans, and it is just a great time. So that one, big smokes are great. There's a great one in Colorado I enjoy. But if I had to pick one major one, it would be C-Fest, because it's just the combination of area. You have maybe 300 people that lives in that area, but 5,000 people just bombard this little town, and we just start to party, smoke, tell us stories, and it's just an amazing time.
So the next question is about Benji, and we've got a few guys talking about how he influenced your blending and what was the first cigar you actually blended and how did he influence that?
Every cigar that I make has a stamp of approval from Benji. So when I'm working on a new blend, I'm always sharing those blends and with Benji and say, Benji, the target is this, because he doesn't like full body cigars at all. And so, sometimes we have to create a full body cigar, but he has the knowledge to say, okay, Ricky, this is not for me, but if you want to make this cigar, I would change this. And why not listen to a master who's been doing it for 50 or 60 years? So he does influence me before he retired and definitely after, because I'm always searching for his help. Any blend that you're going to enjoy from CAO, believe it, that Benji had the samples in his hands, smoked the cigars, and gave me the approval to launch the cigar.
And there's also a few guys, specifically Don, who's asking how Benji is, if you still keep in touch with him.
Every week I try to call, guys, I'm going to try to plug in my iPad. I'm going to lose you guys. So hold on. Sorry. This is not professional, but you know what? It is live. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Okay. Hold on, guys. Okay. Hold on. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Are you holding on?
We're holding.
This is live, huh?
We don't see your video, but we're here.
Television
Okay.
broadcast.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. Back?
There you go. We can see you.
Right. Okay.
So that
All
last question was just about Benji. So
Benji is fine. I talk to him about every week and all that. So yeah, we keep in touch because Benji looks at me like a son, and I definitely look at Benji like my father, for sure.
So Francisco has a question about the different parts of the tobacco plant and why he likes cigars that have tobaccos from the top part of the leaves.
The Ligero. So you like body. That question is because you like the body of the cigar. And so the top of the tobacco plant is always going to be a Ligero, and that's going to be the body of the tobacco. So if you look at Seco, that's where the flavor is. Velado, the bottom is for burning characteristics, not the flavor. So if you're a fan of full body cigars, search for anything that has Ligero in it.
So Antoine would like to know how often you smoke and if you ever find that your palate needs a break, like if you get burnt out at all.
I get burnt out on smoking the same cigar sometimes, but I smoke about an average of 3 cigars a day. And so, no, I don't know the last time that I went without smoking a cigar in a day. Maybe when I get sick, but no, it's been years. So since I not smoking a cigar in a day. Yeah.
So I know you've answered some questions about Flathead and Steel Horse, but we've got a couple questions on the V19. If you could talk about where that idea came from.
The V19 was just kind of, the marketing department wanted to create something special for the Flathead line. And so what we realized is the fans of CAO was saying to us, we love the size of the 6x60, but we prefer the body and the blend of the spark plug. Can you ever make us a spark plug in the 6x60? And yes, we can. And that was the cigar that we made. So if you're smoking the V19, that is the body and the flavor of the spark plug in the 6x60.
All right.
And that's made with the Maduro tobacco wrapper.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see if we've got another good one. All right, so the next question is definitely relevant to what's going on today, but we've got Charles asking if you've ever thought about doing a first responder series cigar. So you could probably talk about honor a little bit.
You know what we did? There's a cigar series that we created for the military, the police, and the fire and EOT. And so we called it The Honor. and we released that cigar about maybe about 4 years ago now, and then it's going to come back out this year. Matter of fact, there's going to be another honor coming back out to support the military, the local to police, and the local firemen and all that. So yes, we do that.
So this next one is from Nick Nunziata, and he wants to know what your favorite sleeper blend is among the CAO offerings.
Good one. You know what? Great. Nicaragua to me is one of it's out there. A lot of people bypass it for two reasons. If you're truly a Nicaraguan fan and you think it's going to be spicy, in your face, full body, this is not the cigar. What we try to do is show you that Nicaragua has some great tobacco, and we contain that tobacco and only give you the flavor of that tobacco, not the body of the tobacco. So if you never tried the Nicaragua, I would highly recommend you guys going out there and find that cigar, and you'll realize what we're trying to do is just a great blend to highlight this great country called Nicaragua. Thanks, Nick. That was a great question.
All right, so this next one is from James on YouTube, and he is one of your CAO super fans. So he would like to know a little bit about Session and how that blend came about and what that process was like.
Okay, Sessions is a blend that was created from the fans. So about 2-3 years ago, I started to ask the question, what do you want from us? And the response was, we love your dark wrappers. We love some sweetness and spice. So when you like the cigar, what you're going to notice is a very kind of a bold spiciness to that cigar. And about a third of the way, it's going to mellow out, and all of a sudden that sweet wrappers comes to play. So that combination, that sweet and spicy tobacco together, made the Session. And the Sessions the name came about the fans asking the question, where does Ricky smoke his cigars at home? In his garage. And so I don't do I don't have a band, so I don't say to my friends, bring your guitars down, we're going to have a jam session. I always just say, bro, we're going to have a cigar session, and we're going to just get together and smoke cigars.
All right, Rick, this next one is definitely touchy. Michael wants to know how you feel about Tom Brady.
Well, to tell you the truth, I love myself some Winston. No, I'm so happy that Winston is out gone. I don't care if my grandfather wanted to start for the Bucks. I'd rather him start than Winston. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll have a season this year, and if we do, we're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, but we're Super Bowl bound. Yeah. So thank you so much, Michael, for asking that question.
So this next one is from Cody, and he is a big fan of the Pilon, and that's his favorite CAO. And he wants to know if you have like a favorite all-time CAO cigar, something that you blended, something that was here prior to you.
I would say Palate is my favorite, and I love outside of me blending for CAO. I think I would be the Maduro that they created. That I love that cigar. I love the Brasilia too, and I'm not a fan of the Italia. And so yes, we can make cigars as a manufacturer sometimes like a chef, because the chef has a restaurant and he can cook anything, but he doesn't like everything he eats. And so yes, we can make a cigar that we don't enjoy, but they're not hiring us to make cigars for us. They're hiring us to make cigars for you. So if you want me to make your Cameroon cigar, I will try my hardest. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm not a fan of Cameroon, but I am going to release a Cameroon cigar, and I just trust the guys that are working with me. We're going to give you the best Cameroon I think on the market when you smoke the cigar.
All right, so this next one is about the CAO America, And can you talk a little bit about the concept of the barber pole and how that impacts the flavor of the cigar? And if you know a little bit about how that idea came across, or how you guys originally came up with that.
It's just a combination of these guys wanted to show off or showcase the two rappers from Connecticut, the Shade Grown and the Broadleaf. And so that barbecue pole is, been out there for years. I don't understand that technique because it's hard for you to smoke the cigar and draw out the flavors separate, but the combination is great. So what we did back in the day, about maybe 3 years ago, we released a cigar, the same blend, but what we did was separate the two wrappers. So you started that cigar with the Connecticut Shade, and about halfway down, it changed it to the Maduro. That process to me is a process that I thought was fantastic. But the Barbecue Pro is just trying to showcase two wrappers combined, and that's the reason they make that series or that line.
So Bob and Chris would like us to just tell them again how they can go online to get that CAO Lotus lighter. So it's really simple. All you do is go onto cigarworld.com. There's a little icon that you click that says register. You register to become a user on Cigar World, and then you join the CAO fan page, which is right there on the site. So Rick is going to show you that lighter again, but it's really simple. Just go to Cigar World and register.
Can you hold this for me? Yeah, I'm going to go, guys, hold on. I might lose my.
All right.
All right, so yeah, we're.
I was going to say we can also talk
get
about
a view of the garage here. You can see we are actually in a garage, and there's a lot of different. That's where the cars go, and then on the other side of the garage, you got tobacco hanging from the garage door, and you got the wall with all the entertainment equipment and all the bar and
Smoker jacket.
everything. Pick up that smoking jacket. Let's show everybody Ricky's smoking jacket. That's the smoking jacket.
I think that's his Tiger King jacket, right?
It is the Tiger King jacket, actually, and that's his. I don't know if you ever wore that jacket.
No, I wear that jacket all the time, bro. All right, guys, I'm sorry.
Are you going to try on that Tiger King jacket for us?
You know what? Later on, bro. Later on. Yeah. All right, guys. This is live, so it happens. All right.
So yeah, we were just telling everyone about going on to Cigar World to register for your fan club, and that will enter them to get one of those lighters. But the next question that we had was about Lanceros. Do you think we'll ever see a Lancero size again?
We had one in Flathead. We had the Piston. So everybody wants that cigar, but when any manufacturer does it, it doesn't sell as well as the larger ring gauges. So never say never. Right now, we don't have any plans to launch a Lancero, but never say never. And if the demand is out there, we'll definitely do it.
All right, so Smoke Easy has a question for you. He said, like your garage buddies, he prefers a full-bodied, a really strong cigar. So he wants to know, in the CAO portfolio, in your opinion, what are the fullest body and strength cigars that we sell?
I think you need to search out the spark plug from Flathead. That is the most bodied cigar that we create right now. So if you look at CAO, what we don't want to do is corner ourselves in one style. There's companies out there, when you look at that line, not saying the company, but every cigar that they're going to deliver is full body in your space. And so I'm an old blender, meaning the guys that taught me to blend cigars are more about the taste of the cigar. If you have some body to it, great, but that's not the reason to make a cigar, because as a manufacturer, it's easy to create a full body cigar. It's very hard to create, believe it or not, a mild cigar or a medium body cigar with flavor. So a full body cigar, if the demands is out there is easy, but we tend to focus on flavor of the tobacco, not body. But if you want to experience that Flathead spark plug, I think it is body. It is body.
All right, this next one is two parts. The first is from Woody, and he would like to know what your favorite tobacco is to work with. And then Scott would like to know what your favorite cigar is to pair with fried chicken.
Okay, chicken wise, bro, you know, any cigar you're going to have your hands on, I would be a fan of that.
It's a versatile food. It goes with everything.
Yeah, so not Philly fucking chocolates. I'm sorry, not Philly chocolates, but any cigar that I can get my hands on after fried chicken dinner is heaven to me. Heaven. My favorite tobacco to use, like I said earlier, Connecticut broadleaf. Connecticut broadleaf allows me to create a mild cigar, medium body cigar, full body cigar, and so much variations of that. So Sumatra is one of my favorite cigars. Filler wise, I think Honduras to me, Colombia to me, Mexico is to. I'm not a big fan of the body sometimes of Nicaragua. That's the reason I love the Nicaraguan that we're making, because it showcases the flavor of the tobacco, not the body.
All right, this next one is from Manzu. And Manzu would like to know what inspired you to do the Zocalo line.
We just want to see if the fans of CAO would accept a rapper from Mexico. And the response was unbelievable. So if Judge was here, my marketing guy was here, he's so excited. We are going to launch a Zocalo next year, and look forward to that. More sizes. Maybe we're going to kind of tweak the packaging, but the name Zocalo is going to stay alive. And that name came from one of our reps that gave that name to us, and that's the beauty. Steel Horse came from a rep, Matt Bender in Chicago. That the name Steel Horse he did, and so sometimes you need to just listen to people. You think you know everything that you think they want to know, but it's sometimes just shut up. Listen to your fans, and they'll dictate to you what they want. And so those two names came from reps. But Zocalo will be back out there. I think we have plans for Zocalo in May of 2021. All
right, this next question is from Chris. So the only thing he has smoked CAO wise is Flathead, which he loves. He says he's got a session in his humidor. He smokes everything from light to full bodied. He just doesn't care too much for spicy cigars. So what else would you recommend outside of Flathead to him?
I would recommend the Brasilia, of course. Brasilia. I would recommend the America. I would recommend the Maduro. I would recommend for you to try the Palate. Those are the top 3 or 4 cigars that I think is going to give you a variety of body and flavor to showcase what we do.
All right. It looks like we've got one last question for you. We've got Charles is coming to you, actually to your area, and he's going to be in Treasure Island later this year. So he's asking about local shops, if you've got any favorite hangouts, anywhere you'd suggest going.
There's a couple of shops in that Treasure Island. Go to their shop downtown St. Pete called Central Cigars. Would be a great one. A little bar, so you can get a beer, a drink, a cigar. Come to Tampa. Go to Ybor City for the day because that is the history of Tampa and cigar making. Starts with that line, and then the Davidoff shop by the airport. Very beautiful. And there's another one on 19 north, a little bit away from you, called Cigar Castle.
All right. I was going to say we've got one more. We haven't talked about any of the CAO flavors lines yet. So you've got Mike, who is a big fan of flavors.
Yep.
So he wants to know if you have any to recommend.
Oh yeah, Moon Trance. Moon Trance is the #1 selling flavor cigar in the world, and that is a great cigar. The difference of our cigars when we make a flavor cigar, usually about 70% of the time, they don't blend a cigar. They know they're just going to use the cheapest tobacco they can get their hands on because they don't worry because we want it to taste like chocolate or strawberry or bananas. But CAO, before we took over General Cigar, they decided if we're going to sell a flavor cigar, make a blend. So if you take that flavor out, you can still enjoy that cigar. So I would definitely recommend you Island Dream, or to me, the other one is just a great series of cigars.
We also have a couple people asking to talk a little bit about the March Madness promotion and which cigar won. And it looks like the Flathead V19 won. So I know you did talk a little bit about that. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add about March Madness, but we did just pick a winner. So
yeah, and then we're going to introduce maybe this year on the fall V20, and just started to smoke samples that I received from the factory. If you love the V19, just wait for the V20. It's something very special. Doug and I was sharing this information together and said, whatever we did or whatever they're doing for that cigar, don't change anything. And it's a great cigar, a great cigar. So look for that very soon, maybe possibly in the fall of 2020 or the springtime of 2021.
awesome. I was going to say, if you want to wrap it up, I think that was all we had time for.
Well,
so.
guys, thank you so much to sharing this hour and a half with us. I can't thank you enough. Hopefully, you got away from the craziness for an hour. That's what we wanted to do with you guys and girls out there, because God bless everybody, and hopefully everybody's going to be safe. We will be out of this situation soon, and I look forward to maybe going back out to the field. And I would love you to come out to me and say, Ricky, I was part of the first garage event, and bro, I'll hug you guys. I'll give you a cigar. But thank you so much for doing this with us. And so I just want to say from us to you, we did it for one reason, to share some knowledge with you, but to give you guys a break from this craziness. And hopefully we did that tonight.
We'll be back next Thursday, right?
I would love it.
I'll be here.
Guys, yes?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah.
Usually there'd be
Wait,
about
I think we need a really bro. I don't think we got one from you all
Hey,
night.
bro, you know what? Next week, if you tune in, I will wear a t-shirt that I'll give away. Some of these t-shirts I'll wear next week. If you join us next week, I would the first 20 or 30 people that ask me a question, we'll give you a t-shirt. And I think you're going to love it, bro. Really, bro. I think you're really going to love it. All right. All right. Gary.
Guess that's it, Rick.
All right, guys.
Really,
Thank
bro?
you so much. Take care. Take care. Leaving the meeting. Leaving.